you know.
All right, shalom, shalom. I start signing out. Praise and glory due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakakadash. Double honor to our apostle Israel, millstone salutations to you, hopeful elect out there that's teaching the word in truth and sincerity. All right, real quick, I just want to play this clip. Jorge Masvidal, which is a UFC fighter. He's on a Joe Rogan show, and it was talking about Joe Rogan said what pretty much keeps him fighting, and I just thought it was interesting to hear the answer of Jorge Masvidal and what he said, and actually how that actually goes back to the scriptures. And I'm going to bring that scripture out, but I'm going to play the clip first. And the reason why he said what he said is actually installed into him because it goes back to the spirit of his tribe. And I'm going to play the video.
That's what attracts you. You know,
Yeah.
You're a 135er, and back home you're the only 135er, and maybe you're a world class guy. You come in here, you got like 5 135ers, and 3 of them might be in the top 10 in the UFC. You know?
What do you attribute your longevity to and your enthusiasm to? Because you've always been a guy who loves fighting, and you've always been a guy who, I mean, you've had that enthusiasm for a long time, man.
You know, not a lot of things can capture my attention. You know, like I can't just watch TV, for example. You know, like a football game and sit through the whole thing. You know, not trying to dish football or anything. I just don't have that attention span, or basketball or baseball. Fighting can just, like, I'm talking to you and the fight goes on, and I just like almost get zoned out. You know, so it's always had my attention since a kid. Since before I knew that I could make money off of it, it just attracted me. You know, it's that primal instinct, survival, whatever it is. It's just hardwired deep into me. You know, and my longevity.
Now, what he just said, that actually goes back to the scriptures, man. All right, Joe Rogan asked him what keeps him, what keeps him, inspired by fighting. And then he just said pretty much that it's something about fighting that he loves it and it captures his attention. And then he said it's hardwired into him, man. All right, and that actually goes back to the scriptures because he's a Manassite, he's a Cuban, a so-called Cuban. All right, because when the Lord was making the tribes, he gave the tribes specific characteristics. Now this is 1 Chronicles 5 verse 17. All these were reckoned by genealogies in the days of Jotham, king of Judah, and in the days of Jeroboam, king of Israel. It said the sons of Reuben and the Gadites and half the tribe of Manasseh, of valiant men able to bear buckler and sword and to shoot with bow and skillful in war. It says were 440,703 score that went out to the war. Yeah, so the Reubenites are Reuben is our so-called Seminole Indians, all right, and then the Gadites, all right, they're so-called native Indians, all right, and then the Manassites or Manasseh, all right, they're so-called Cubans, all right. And those are like some of the tribes that was like pretty much the first ones to go out to war. All right, and they do have a war like spirit, man. Like whenever if you're around these tribes, especially Reuben, these tribes have very warlike mentalities, man. All right, and they're very skillful at what they do. All right, and that's why it says they're valiant, man, and then it said and skillful in war, man. And you telling me that's not the prophecy on these tribes, man? When you look at the history of these tribes, in particular, Reuben, Gad, and Manasseh, they're all very skillful with these things that was named in this verse. They're skillful with the bow and arrow, all right, the sword and buckler, all right. And there's constant movies that Esau has documented that backs these scriptures up, man. You got books on them and things of that nature, all right. Esau knows the truth, man. All right, but going back to what Jorge Masvidal said, that just backs up the scriptures, man. He said he don't know what it is. He just said it's hardwired into him, and he's saying something fighting just capture his attention. It's because he's actually a Manassite. He goes back to that tribe, man. He's a tribe that goes off to war. That was back in the ancient world, man. All right, one of the first tribes to go off to war, man. When fighting was amongst our people. All right, when our people went out to fight the other heathens and stuff like that, that was one of the tribes that went out to war first. All right, and that just goes to show you, man, the scriptures, our people, they do what the scriptures say, even if they don't know it, man. All right, we just read Romans the 2nd chapter. So with that, I'm gonna say shalom and a blah blah blah.